Alright, today we are going to prepare chart of accounts and opening an account. What we need to do is we need to take the information off of your textbook on page 95 and also your workbook, page 57. And we're going to use these two different spots here, and we're going to determine how to set up an account using the information that we have. So what we need to do is we need to put these account titles up at the top on page 95 into alphabetical order, and then we also need to give them a 3-digit account number that needs to be divisible by 10. And it also says that two accounts are postage expense and utility expense are to be added to the chart of accounts prepared in instruction 1. And then we need to use the accounts from the working pages to make sure we have all the information. So let's just start out by going through the different account titles. We need to put them in alphabetical order. So we are going to start with our different categories. So we have our balance sheet information, and then we have our income statement accounts, okay? So we have our balance sheet accounts and income statement accounts. So the first thing we need to do is we need to title this account chart. So we need to title it. It says that it's for the Ross Company. So we're going to put Ross Company up here.
Jamie Dolph, please report to Mr. Roberts' room.
And then we are going to have our different accounts. So we're going to have our balance sheet accounts and our income statement accounts. So we're going to start out by breaking them down for our balance sheet accounts. So over here, we're going to put down balance. I'm just going to abbreviate it. Okay. Alright, so this is going to be our balance sheet accounts. So what goes under our balance sheet? We're going to start by looking at our account titles that we have on page 95. And we have different ones such as expenses, sales, all that information. So we're going to start out by putting down our assets. And we're going to label our assets with 100s. So let's go here. Okay, and we're going to put down assets. And we're going to start out with our cash. Since we know that cash is an asset, so we need to make sure it's divisible by 10. Do 110, cash. And then we have our accounts receivable for Megan Alvarez, and we're going to put down again the account title, so we need to go by 10, so 120, accounts receivable. I'm just going to put down Megan. Alright, our next one we have is another accounts receivable. This is going to be for Tyler Link, so again we're going to have a 130, accounts receivable. We're going to put down Tyler. Okay. Next thing that we have for our assets, we know that we have supplies and prepaid insurance. So since prepaid insurance comes before supplies, we're going to put down 140, prepaid insurance. Okay, so then our last one that we have on our asset side is going to be our supplies. Down 150, supplies. Okay. Next, we need to put in our liabilities. So again, we're going to use our assets, our liabilities, our revenue, and our expenses. So since we know that, and our owner's equity. So since we know on our balance sheet accounts, we're going to have our assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. The next thing that we're going to put down is our liability. I'm just going to abbreviate that. And we're going to make these 200, just so we can keep them straight compared from the assets. So our first liability that we have is going to be our accounts payable for the Mid-City Supplies. So I'm just going to abbreviate again. Mid-City. Okay. Then our last one we have for our liability is accounts payable. Oh, excuse me, sorry, I forgot to put down our number. Okay, our next one that we have is going to be accounts payable for the shear supplies. So again, we're going to go by 10, so we're going to go 220, accounts payable. cashier supply. Okay. Alright, that should be all of our liabilities that we have. Our next is going to be our owner's equity, since that's on the balance sheet also. So we're going to make that into a 300 just so we can keep that. And I am just going to abbreviate it with OE. So we know that we have our capital in drawing. So we need to first start out with our Clara Ross capital. So we're going to put 310 here. We're going to put Clara. We're going to put capital. Again, I'm just abbreviating. And then we also notice that we have our drawing, which is going to be 320, Clara, and drawing. Okay. Alright, so next thing that we need to do is we're going to break it up into our income statement accounts. Okay, income statement accounts are going to be more like our revenues and our expenses. So I'm going to put in income accounts. Okay. Alright, since we know that we have our revenues and our expenses, obviously we want to start out with our expenses because that is more at the beginning of the alphabet if we want to go alphabetical order. So we're going to put in 400. Again, we want to keep it separated. Expense. Okay. I am going to then figure out what my expenses are. And since I have my automobile, insurance, miscellaneous rent, and supplies, we're going to start with our automobile. So we're going to put down 410. I'm just going to put down auto. Next one's 420. We have insurance. Again, just abbreviating. Next one, 430. We have miscellaneous. Next one is 440. We have rent. And the last one is 550. We have supplies. Oh, excuse me, 450. We have supplies. Okay, so then the last part is we're going to do our revenue. So we're going to label this 500. I'm just going to put down rev. And we are going to have our sales that we had for our revenue is what we've made. So that's going to be 510. Okay. Alright, for number 2, we need to take our 2 accounts, our postage expense and utility expense, and we need to be able to add it to the chart to prepare in the instruction. So we need to assign account numbers to the 2 accounts. Alright. So what we do here is, since we need to add these in, we need to label a new account. Then we need to have our account number and our account titles. Since we know that our postage and utility expense is going to go under our expenses, we are going to label them under the 400. So we're just going to go account number. And account title. Okay, so our account number, we're just going to go up here to our expenses. Our last one that we have was 450. So we're going to go 460. And we're going to do postage. And then we're going to go 470. And we're going to go utility. Just abbreviating it. Alright. Okay, so then our number 3, it says we need to use the account to form a working pages to open up a cache. So all we really need to do is, since we know that our cache is going to be under 110, we need to put down our account title for cache. And then we just need to put our account number, which is going to be 110.